In today's video, I'll show you how I made this little spindle leg chair. We'll be using this free pattern, some Q-tips, and I'm going to be using two kinds of glue, a wood glue, although I won't be using it out of the precision tip because I have a hard time squeezing it out of that tip, and then just some regular Elmer's glue all. Through my scrap cardstock drawer and pulled out some pieces big enough to use. I forgot to mention too, since there are 4 legs to the chair, I couldn't fit all 4 leg spindle pieces on one sheet and everything else. So unfortunately, you'll have to print the pattern 4 times. First, you will want to cut your Q-tip pieces. You'll need 4 legs, and the legs are 1 3/16 of an inch long. And then I make a mark 1/16 of an inch down from one of the ends. I also sanded the ends to almost a point. And then you'll need 2 leg supports, and they're each 1 inch, and then mark the halfway point. Then you'll need 2 of the arm pieces, and they're each 11/16 long, and I marked them 1/16 of an inch in on each side. And then this one is the chair support. And the chair support bar is 1 1/8 inch long. And you don't need to make any marks on that piece. We'll be working on the leg first. So I'm just using scissors to cut it out. Just get as close as you can to the line. It doesn't matter if it's cut perfectly. And if you don't want to cut it out with scissors, especially on the ones that are really pointy at the end, you can always just use a straight edge and some kind of a box cutter or an X-Acto knife. Just be super careful. We'll be using the Q-tips that were cut for the legs. And on some of the pieces, you'll notice there is a black line, and that line shows you which edge of this piece is straight. Because even though it looks like it's the same on both sides, this side is actually straight, and this side angles in. And I also like to go ahead and work on all 4 legs at once. This side here, the straight edge, keep these edges even. You're not going to be able to keep these edges even because they're going to start tapering in. You can see now, or I hope you can see, that it is starting to taper a little bit at the top. It's making it look rounded at the top. This is where it gets tricky, is when you're ending. A lot of times when I'm ending, if I'm not holding it just right, it'll just all unspiral on me. I'm trying not to lose it. Find a way that's comfortable for you to hold it to. It just takes practice. And even though I have done a lot of it, I still struggle with it. And another thing I like to do too when I've put a piece on is I put some glue on my finger, but I roll the bead. I call it a bead. You can roll the shape in the glue so that they won't come undone on you. And now we'll be attaching piece 2. And piece 2 is a long skinny triangle. Just glue it on right up next to the previous piece that we rolled on. Nessie from Nessie Monster Crafts has been on a paper quilling spree, and she whipped up some adorable mixing bowls. You should check them out. The link is in the description. And it looks like I could have gotten a little closer to that piece, but it'll be okay. Now piece number 3 is the exact piece as 1, except this time we're going to have the black line lining up right under the previous piece. That way it will taper down and become thinner this direction. So your piece should look something like this at this point. And piece number 4 is another long skinny triangle, and I just glue it on right up next to the bottom of the previous piece. So it's going to taper in on each side. And there it is with piece number 4 on. And piece number 5, you want the black line right under the previous piece. And roll it up, keeping this side even. And it should look like that. And now piece number 6. And it just glues on down here at the end. And it leaves a little bit of the Q-tip exposed to end the chair leg. And here are all the pieces rolled onto the Q-tip to create your chair leg. Before we set these chair legs aside to work on the chair leg support, so on the 5th piece near the top we're going to be drilling. So I just like to cover that little section at the end. When you roll it up, your little end piece, that's where we'll drill. I just like to put a little bit of wood glue right there just to kind of reinforce and strengthen that section. And now we'll work on the chair leg supports. So we'll be using these 3 pieces. I like to glue piece number 2 right over the midsection. And piece number 2 is a long skinny triangle, so it is going to taper in on each side. And this is what that piece looks like. So this was piece number 2. Piece number 1 and 3 are the very same piece, and they get rolled one on each side of piece number 2. And this is how the chair leg support looks. It has piece 1, 2, and 3. And just like on the chair legs, we will be drilling a hole in these. So I'm going to reinforce it a little bit with some wood glue. And I'm going to be drilling right where my paper ended. So I'm putting a little bit of the wood glue there just to strengthen it. Now we're working on the arm spindles, and I'm gluing piece 1. I'm just gluing it under the mark that I made. And that's how piece 1 looks. And here's piece 2. And piece 2, you're going to line up the black straight edge right under piece 1. And roll it up, keeping the edges even at the top up here under this piece 1. This is a very tiny piece, so it's very tricky to hold on to. And piece 3 is going to glue right under piece 2. And this is how the arm spindle looks. And the main chair support bar does not get any paper rolled onto it, unless you feel like it. And now it's time to cut out the chair pattern pieces. I tried to design the chair back where you didn't have to have a lot of weird cuts or curves or small spaces, since you're cutting it by hand. Now the rest of these, I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. If you're planning to keep these pieces as pattern pieces to make more chairs, you may just want to take a pencil and trace them. I just put a little bit of glue on the back and cut them out. I'm just going to peel this off. I didn't put a lot of glue on it. You only need to cut 2 of the overlays, 1 for the front and 1 for the back. I need to do 8 layers of the chair seat, and I need to do 4 layers of the back of the seat. This is wood glue, and I'm putting it on pretty thick. Okay, and then I just glue that down to my cardstock. I'm using an X-Acto knife, and I'm just going up close to the first layer. Especially if you don't want to have to do a lot of sanding, try to get up as close as you can. And now that it's cut out, I'm going to glue it down again, and that will be the 3rd layer. And then once I cut that out, I'll do it one more time, and this piece will have its 4 layers. And now I'm gluing the overlays to the front and the back of the chair. And before the piece dries, gently start curving it a little bit. If I could suggest any sanding, I would suggest sanding this top section of the back of the chair and curve it and take that boxiness off of it. While I'm sanding, I wanted to show you this, that if you want your chair back to tilt back a little bit, sand off some of this back edge. We're going to drill the holes for the spindles. Okay, so it's 1/4 of an inch in on each side, and measure in 1/8 of an inch from the back and the front. Now I'm not making the holes very deep. And on the top side, we're going to measure 3/16 of an inch in. And then from the back, that's the shorter end, you're going to measure in 3/4 of an inch. And here's the arms. I didn't do any special measurements on these. I just came in a little bit and centered it on each one. but make sure that you don't put both the arms going in the same direction. Now we're going to drill some holes into the legs. For the holes in the chair leg supports, I drill right down in the center, and it might even get off center, and the paper starts to split and twirl, and it's okay. When you put the support in there, it's going to cover the ugliness up and you won't see it. I want to show you where I drilled the hole in all the legs. I started right under that last rounded section right here. I didn't drill it super deep though, because you don't have to have too much of it to go in, just enough to catch it and give it something to rest in when you glue it. Now I'm going to assemble the legs, and I start off by just dipping the chair support piece into some wood glue, and then I just put that into the drilled hole. I dip the other end into the glue, push that into another leg. The hole that you drilled into the chair support bar, for the chair support bar, you'll want it to be standing up. While the glue is still wet, hold the legs close to the drilled holes on the bottom of the chair, and if I have to, I pinch them in. Okay, and that one's good. And then I just use this one as a guide for the second set. Okay, now that the glue, it's pretty much dry, I dip the chair support bar into the wood glue and put that into the hole that was drilled into the chair support. And you see what I mean? It doesn't look so messy now where I drilled the hole. And carefully get glue on the other end and put that into the other chair support bar. So I dipped each one of the chair legs into glue, and now I'm just going to line them up with the holes. And then I stand the chair up. And this is why I don't want the glue to be completely dry, because then I can see if the chair legs are sitting flat, if it's kind of wonky. Try to bend it if I can. I am going to let the glue dry now before I move on to the next part. And now I'm going to glue the chair back on. And I put a generous amount of glue again. And I just center it on the back of the chair seat. I come in maybe an 1/8 of an inch, if that. It's really up to you. And then you have to hold it for a little bit until the glue grabs, which doesn't take too long. I'm going to attach the arms. And I start off by dipping the bottom of the arm spindle in some wood glue. Then I put it onto the chair. I put it on an angle, something like that. And then I put some wood glue on the top. And also I put a little bit of glue on the arm, this little notch. Have it there to hold it, and then attach it to the notch around the side of the chair. I'm still trying to keep it flared. I'm going to give it a couple of coats of wood glue. And if you don't have wood glue, Mod Podge will work as well. And I'm just giving it a base coat of a brown. I thought that would help blend everything before I put the top coat on. I decided to paint my chair a robin egg color. I think that was the name of it. And I want this chair to look old, so I'm just giving it one coat of paint. This is optional, but I like to add a little bit of the chalk pastel, especially on the spindles. I think it helps bring out a lot of the detail. So I wanted this chair to look old. I feel like it gave it a little bit of a dusty, dirty look. And here's my little chair complete. I also added a water slide decal at the top. And then I made one without arms. I hope you give this little chair a try. And if you do, let me know in the comments how it turned out for you. And I'll see you next time.